was walking with my sisters on a cloudy day after the rains. I was off to the mechanics while they were headed to Mom's shop, just off the corner of our estate square. Our mood and the conversation were both especially good that day. As we talked, my attention was drawn to something right in front of us. There, walking into the estate, was a woman who appeared to be carrying all her worldly goods on her back. She was carrying a well-worn sign that reads, "I work for food." My heart sank. It moved both in a mixture of sadness and disbelief. We continued with our conversation, but I was lost in the conversation as her image lingered in my mind. We went our separate ways. I had other errands to do, and quickly I set out to accomplish them. I glanced towards the estate square, looking somewhat half-heartedly for the strange visitor. I was fearful, knowing that seeing her again would cause some response. I drove through the estate and saw nothing of her. I made some purchases at the store and got back in my car. Deep within me, the Spirit of God kept speaking to me. Don't go back to the house until you have at least driven once more around the estate. Then, with some hesitancy, I headed back into the estate. As I approached the estate's third corner, I saw her. She was lying on a bench in front of a building with the inscription, "Friends of Jesus," with her head rested on her sack. Feeling both compelled to speak to her yet wanting to drive on, but the empty parking space in front of her seemed to be a sign from God, an invitation to park. I pulled in, got out and approached the estate's newest visitor. "Looking for the pastor?" I asked. "Not really," she replied. "Just resting. Have you eaten today?" "Oh, I had something early this morning." "Would you like to have lunch with me?" I asked. "Do you have some work I could do for you?" "No work," I replied. "I commute here to work every day, but I would like to take you to lunch." "Sure," she replied with a smile. As she began to gather her things, I asked some surface questions. "Where are you headed?" "Ibadan," she replied. "Where are you from?" "Oh, all over, mostly Lagos." "How long have you been working?" 14 years, came the reply. I knew I had met someone unusual. Her face was weathered slightly beyond her 38 years. Her eyes were dark yet clear, and she spoke with an eloquence and articulation that was startling. She removed the dangling sign and flipped over to reveal a message that reads, "Jesus, the never-ending story." Then Olaito's story began to unfold. She had seen rough times early in life. She had made some wrong choices and reaped the consequences. 14 years earlier, while backpacking across the country, she had stopped on a beach in Oniru. She tried to hire on with some men who were putting up a large tent and some equipment. A concert, she thought. She was hired, but the tent would not house a concert, but revival services. And in those services, she saw life more clearly. She gave her life over to Christ. "Nothing has been the same since," she said. "I felt the Lord telling me to keep walking, so I did. Some 14 years now." "Ever think of stopping?" I asked. "Oh, once in a while when it seems to get the best of me. But God has given me this calling. I give her Bibles. That's what's in my sack. I walk to buy food and Bibles, and I give them out when His Spirit leads." I sat amazed. My homeless friend was not homeless after all. She was on a mission and lived this way by choice. The question burned inside for a moment, and then I asked, "What is it like?" "What?" To walk into a town carrying all your things on your back and to show your sign. Oh, it was humiliating at first. People would stare and make comments. Once someone tossed a piece of half-eaten bread and made a gesture that certainly didn't make me feel welcome. But then it became humbling to realize that God was using me to touch lives and change people's concepts of other folks like me. My concept was changing too. She finished her meal and gathered her things. She turned to me and said, "Come ye blessed of my Father, and inherit the kingdom I have prepared for you. For when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. A stranger, and you took me in." I felt as if we were on holy ground. "Where are you headed from here?" I asked. "Well, there's this amusement park I passed by while I was coming." "Are you hoping to get a job there for a while?" "No, I just figured I should go there. I figure someone under the star right there needs a Bible. So that's where I'm going next." She smiled, and the warmth of her spirit radiated the sincerity of her mission. "Would you sign my autograph book?" she asked. I like to keep messages from folks I meet. I decided to write on a dangling sign that her commitment to her calling had touched my life. I encouraged her to stay strong, and I left her with a verse of scripture from Jeremiah. "I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a future and a hope." "Thanks, man," she said. "I know we've just met, but I love you." "I know," I said. "I love you too. The Lord is good." "How long has it been since someone hugged you?" I asked. "A long time," she replied. And so on the street corner, my new friend and I embraced, and I felt deep inside that I had been changed. She put her things on her back, smiled a winning smile, and said, "See you in the New Jerusalem." "I'll be there," was my reply. She began her journey again. She headed away with her sign dangling from a bedroll and pack of Bibles. She stopped and turned and said, "When you see something that makes you think of me, will you pray for me?" "You bet," I shouted back. "God bless, God bless." And that was the last time I saw her. Late that evening, as I headed back home, the wind blew so strong. The cold front had settled hard upon the town. I bundled up and hurried to my car, and as I sat back and reached for the emergency brake, I saw them. A pair of well-worn brown work gloves, neatly laid over the lens of the handle. I picked them up and thought of my friend and wondered if her hands would stay warm that night without them. Then I remembered her words, "If you see something that makes you think of me, will you pray for me?" Today, the gloves lie on my desk in my house. They help me to see the world and its people in a new way. And they help me remember those 2 hours with my unique friend and to pray for our ministry. "See you in the New Jerusalem," she said. "Yes, or later. I know I will."